Hello, I'm Josh Hetzer. I am the CEO of Social Distancing Solutions. I've got a background in accounting and financials, and I will be helping to deal with the investors in the future.
Hello, I'm Tanner Matko. I am president of Social Distancing Solutions. I have a background in marketing and management, and I will be in charge of managing everything with Social Distancing Solutions.
Hello, I'm Brianna Sanford. I have a background in supply chain and I am the chairholder for Social Distancing Solutions, and I will focus on product development and production.
And here's what we offer. Our main product will be a plexiglass divider with rotating side panels. So this will be used to promote group work while still maintaining social distance. It'll rotate horizontally for inclusive group work. And our focal point will be on university use for students to use. So we will work closely with universities as helping students is our main focus. And we want to do it this way because we want to have a more personal touch than something like Zoom or Microsoft Teams might have, where yes, they can work from across greater distances, but we want to be more personal in that we are trying to get as close to face as we possibly can. Zoom has problems where sometimes there's internet connection issues, sometimes people don't want to show their faces, or sometimes even um, there could be a problem where you're just not making that connection that you would normally make in a face-to-face environment. So we want to try to give students that as close to normal as we can get. So like we said, our target market is university faculty, and we want to help universities in order to help students. So our world is changing, and we want to help prepare for a better future. And what better way to do that than helping to ensure that students are successful? So our primary customer will be universities, uh, chancellors, libraries, anywhere that students are working on things, and anybody who has buying power in those universities. And our primary user then of our plexiglass screens will be students attending these universities. So our market opportunity is to appeal to universities to increase student productivity. We did customer discovery surveys and interviews where we found that students do prefer working in person to accomplish group projects, study, and anything along those lines. And by increasing academic rates, we can help universities to receive more funding, which would then go back to the students. That funding will help uh, increase student productivity even more through other events and things along those lines, and to help them relax, which is another huge part of that. And eventually, we can expand to more Commonwealth campuses as part of Penn State and eventually other universities. And if our product proves successful, we can spread to other universities across the state and surrounding areas like states like Ohio and West Virginia. And our financial impact, we foresee a low to potentially negative profit margin in the first year, which is normal for startups, but we expect to that to increase to making profit after year one. So starting in year two, we expect to have a profit. So our potentially negative profit margins do mean that we will have low cash on hand starting out. Um, this will be a problem, but we are looking for funding from investors as well as through loans. So we should still be able to stay afloat as long as we can make it through the first year.
So for our test marketing strategies, we decided to choose Penn State Beaver because we all know the location very well. We chose this because we can easily monitor the panels that we placed in on the campus. We can see how many students they attract, and with that, we can ask the students that go to them if they like it, what we can change, if anything. We also are going to start small, so with one, two, maybe three in the library at a couple tables. And if it goes over well, we can move out to other buildings like the study rooms in the Michael Baker building or in like the lab rooms or student affairs. So you can see that we can implement them in many different buildings of on the campus. And then we would also like to see what the professors think about it because if the professors like them, maybe we could implement them into some of the classrooms so the professors can do group work in class so the students get the in interaction with the other students to do little in class activities instead of doing one person activities where you're not getting that human interaction that we really need for learning nowadays. And then some of the barriers to entry we found were geographic barriers, obviously, because right now, COVID 19, there are unfortunately some places that are less concerned with the social distancing and using masks and wearing them constantly. So that could really affect us to where if there's a university or a couple schools that are in that area that don't want to follow CDC guidelines, that is a potential loss of a customer there. And also with COVID, there are suppliers of plexiglass that are still struggling to meet demand because of how much plexiglass is actually needed for sneeze guards in restaurants, just guards in stores and anywhere you really go. Another barrier to entry would be competition, which our main competition would be big companies. I just went on online and found a company that sells standing guards, counter guards, hanging guards, anything you really want. But our product is different because we have the horizontal rotating sides where you can actually interact right on and show your fellow students what you're working on and everything. Some legal barriers we found out were really the CDC guidelines that change day to day because right now you have 6 foot of social distancing and you never know, maybe they'll say, oh, it's now down to 3 foot or it's up to 8 foot. So the guidelines are really changing day to day because I know they just changed the quarantining from um, 14 days down to 10. So they change day to day, which could really change our product and how we implement it into the certain schools.
So, a potential risk for our company, the major risk that we would experience is that our product could become obsolete. With our idea getting its kickstart during a global pandemic where its existence is critical, the need for our product could potentially vanish once the pandemic is resolved. While we are trying to advertise as a year round product to help promote safety, people may not be as concerned once the pandemic is over. Even once COVID is no longer, we do still experience a flu season every year, which will still produce a need for our product, but that need would be much lower as the general public is much less concerned about getting the flu versus getting corona. So another risk we could experience is that people might not trust our company with something that is supposed to keep them safe. They might look for those big name companies, which would be our competition, because they may feel that the bigger companies will provide a more reputable product and that is something that they might think will keep them safe. And they just might not trust a startup company with something like their safety, which could be a very big risk for us. So for our development plan, our goal is to eventually expand into other areas and provide safety for students of universities. So we want to start small and then work into building into other areas. So for our startup, we will primarily focus in Western Pennsylvania, and in the future, we would hope to expand across Pennsylvania, potentially into other states close to us, like Ohio and West Virginia. For our sales, we are expecting low profit margins in the beginning, but we want to work towards growing that margin in the future so we can add more value to our products. We want to be able to add this value so that we can potentially become a big name company, and we want to be able to grow by having a small facility at the start and then working towards getting up to 5 facilities across Pennsylvania with potentially 100 employees that we can use to help lower our lead times and have a flexible and accommodating demand change process. We also want these facilities for production and distribution separately so that we can have these short lead times and be able to have warehouses to store materials and different machinery that we might need. So for our exit plan, we do want to partner with larger companies. We would be able to share this profit for our company by partnering with larger companies, as it will benefit us, as we can then gain resources that we may not have otherwise been able to obtain. We can sell shares to companies we would like to partner with and potentially gain access to their existing markets for those companies. Also, in the event social distancing solutions does not take off, we can hope that we can get bought out by one of our partner companies and hope that they would continue with our idea, as they would have more capital that they can invest into the company. So this would be able to allow us to still reach our goal of helping students across campuses be able to work on group projects, but we just might not be able to provide them the best um, solution in doing so. So we can hope that these big name companies can provide that for them. So how do we define success? Our main goal is to improve student work experience. So we want to make it easier for students to work together and get higher grades. By having these higher grades, it does allow the colleges and universities to look better and also attract more students. And along with that, getting more funding to be able to help enhance the student experience even further beyond just allowing students to work together and improve grades that way. We also want to create a high quality product. So we want to have a lot of time delegated to product development, because we want to have something that we can stand by and be able to be certain that it will keep people safe in the event of this global pandemic. So having a high quality product is a very big definer of success for us, because if it's not a good quality product, we don't want to have our names associated with that, because that's putting people's safety at risk. So we want to make sure we can provide the best product to the customers that we possibly can. And then we also, like I said, want to grow and expand as a company. So we want to achieve 5 locations across PA with potentially 100 workers. And even after growing these 5 locations, we can still potentially expand even further after that.